And 96 overall, the Indianapolis Colts drafted Nick Cross, safety from Maryland. And this is a very intriguing player who I think has a lot of upside. And the Colts certainly view it that way. They've drafted a lot of upside players this year with Alec Pierce, Bernard Ryman, Jelani Woods, Nick Cross. All these guys are developmental prospects so far, but they've done a pretty good job of finding high-end talent. Nick Cross is my 7th ranked safety on my board, ranked 81st overall on my big board in general. So this is a pretty good value selection, I think, for the Colts at this point. And the real attraction for Cross, I mean, that 40 time, the 40-yard dash, 4.34, which is 98th percentile. Also had a 130-inch broad jump, which was 92nd percentile for safeties. And boy, when you're 6'1", 215, and you can run this 40 that fast, it really will vault you up draft charts. And on top of that, he doesn't turn 21 until September. So he's a very young player too. He's got that elite linear speed I told you about with the 40 time. He makes plays outside the hashes once he opens up his hips. He's got an explosive trigger downhill. He's a really solid hitter, by the way. He doesn't shy away from contact whatsoever. He already possesses NFL muscle at 6'1", as I said, with 215 pounds packed in there. He explodes and drives into ball carriers. And he's got the potential to cover tight ends. I wouldn't say he can guarantee to do it, but he has the potential to do it. This past year, played about 50 snaps in the slot. It's not a role he'll play in the NFL. But he played about 280 snaps in the box, 420 at free safety. I think you could play him in the box or at safety, like your traditional safety role. I think you could do either one, frankly. But I don't really know. Actually, what will the Colts do? The Colts will probably play him back and not in the box. But they do have 3 safeties with Julian Blackman, Kari Willis, and now Nick Cross. They also have Ronnie McLeod on that roster. I forgot about him. They signed him from the Eagles, so I don't know what they're going to do with that safety room because it's pretty crowded. So that will be really interesting to see what role Nick Cross fills in that team. And Nick Cross, the reason why he fell this far is he was very hot and cold in coverage this year. The first half of the year, really good. Like legitimately a guy who was getting some talk about being maybe a top 50 pick. And then he allowed 3 touchdowns, and it all kind of came crashing back down. Well, he allowed 3 touchdowns in 2020 and 4 touchdowns in 2021. And that kind of took everything away. He had 14 missed tackles in 2021. He lacks the agility to play man coverage against receivers. He just doesn't have it. There's some tightness in his movements. He's not really a fluid athlete. You know, once he gets his hips open, he can go in a straight line and go really fast. But, you know, getting his hips open and kind of doing all the twisting and bending that you would need to do to mirror someone in man coverage is not something he can do really well. And quarterbacks can draw him out of his alignment. They can kind of trick him to some extent to move him away from where he's supposed to be, and they'll make big plays because of that. And Cross has been inconsistent so far in terms of his reaction speed and aggression. That being said, I do expect that to improve significantly once he gets to the NFL. And he does have 3 years with significant snaps, I would say, at the collegiate level. This past year, he had 66 tackles, 2 passes defense, 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. And that is all she wrote.